New York, home to the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. As the field has begun to roll off the starting grid, it's Justin Bonsignor who was quickest in qualifying. As you can tell, we had a little bit of rain that we were fighting here, just about a mile south of Lake Ontario. And that has certainly created a bit of an interesting situation here throughout the day today. Qualifying was broken up where 7 cars went out and qualified, and then the rains came. Now a mix of sun and rain as we get set to go racing here tonight in the Toyota Mod Classic 150. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for tonight's race. Justin Bonsignor, his 28th career and 5th Mayhew Tools pole the 2023 season. We'll lead him around to green. The 64 of Austin Beers, a 2-time series winner here this season, will start to his outside. Bobby Santos, the 2010 champion, making his 3rd season start, driving the 14 car, starts on row 2 alongside Tommy Catalano, his best start of the season. He's 5th in points, and Tyler Ripkema will start 5th tonight. And joining the competition for the first time since June, defending series champion John McKennedy drives the 77 tonight, starting 6th. He's a Langley winner, Kyle Bonsignor, starting in the 7th position alongside championship point leader Ronnie Silk. Bottom half of the top 10, Craig Lutz in the 82, and Tyler Catalano making his NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour debut. He'll start 10th. Inside row 6, Andy Jankowiak, ARCA driver, jumping back into the modifieds. First start since 2021. Will line up alongside Jimmy Zacharias in the 71. Go back a row, Anthony Cecily in the 19, and Brian Narducci makes his debut here at Oswego Speedway and 4th start of the season. 9-time series winner Tim Conley inside row 8 alongside Ken Hagee, who sits 9th in the championship standings, and rounding out our starting lineup here tonight, Melissa Fifield and Gary McDonald. Let's take a look at the race analysis for tonight's Toyota Mod Classic 150. 150 laps, 70 degrees, a mix of rain and sun here tonight as we get ready to go back under the green flag. A couple of the keys to the race that we'll keep an eye on is long run speed. You want to have good help from your spotter, and we'll explain the reason for that in a moment. And take advantage of the traction compound that's been laid in the upper groove around this racetrack here in Oswego. This racetrack, one of the most unique facilities that the Whelen Modified Tour will race on all season long. It's a 5/8 mile oval, very, very fast, relatively flat. It's got 13 degrees of banking in the turn, so it does give you a little bit to work with, but I mentioned the need for making sure that you and your spotter are on the same page. Well, the inside of this racetrack, they call it the Steel Palace because of the steel barriers around the facility. And one of the things that really comes into play here is that inside barrier, that steel boilerplate wall. And the drivers will get as close as possible as they can to that, obviously trying to make the corner as tight as possible. However, it also creates a little bit of a blind spot for drivers, especially with these modifieds being pretty low in the race car, and being able to see far enough ahead if trouble breaks out. So your spotter really has got to be on their toes here this evening, and they've got to make sure that they give you an out if you're running down to the inside lane of the racetrack. Last time out, Kyle Bonsignor in the 22 car captured his first win of the season and first time in 5 years in the Whelen Modified Tour. He'll start 7th in the 22 car. Keep an eye on Kyle Bonsignor. He was pretty optimistic coming into this weekend's race. Cam McDermott, the crew chief for that race car. Race at Langley Speedway last Saturday night, nearly 600 miles from where they race here tonight, just under 600 miles at Oswego, New York. And again, about a mile shy of Lake Ontario. You saw in the open tonight the boats, the shoreline, and that is where some of the weather that we're experiencing now has rolled from the north down to where we are here tonight in Oswego. That has put a little bit of wet weather on track, even as the pole sitter, the Mayhew Tool Pole Award winner, Justin Bonsignor, made his way out onto the racetrack for qualifying. It was a little bit slick. His car got a little sideways through the turns, but he was still able to lay down a very quick lap around this racetrack. 17.884 was the lap of record for Justin Bonsignor to win the pole position here tonight. 5th of the season, 28th career pole for Justin Bonsignor, as he'll lead the field to the green flag here once the track gets dry. You can see the track and safety vehicles on track, working through the process of getting this facility dried off so that way we can get this Toyota Mod Classic 150 underway. Classic weekend here at Oswego is one of the huge events, not only at this facility, but just in western New York and upstate New York. This particular event weekend, not always with the modifieds as part of it, but has 67 years running here in 2023, really highlighted by super modified racing so big at this part of the country. But the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour has run here at the Steel Palace now 15 times. This will be the 16th start for the modifieds here. They've been doing this over the past couple of seasons. Justin Bonsignor, the defending race winner, was quickest in practice in addition to his Mayhew pole-winning speed earlier in the day today. And so he certainly has this racetrack figured out. One newcomer to the field, not a complete newcomer to Whelen Modified Tour action, but the green number 59, the Steve Mendoza-owned modified from Tonawanda, New York, Andy Jankowiak, one of the fan favorites up here at Oswego, New York. He's been running more on the ARCA Menard series as of late and has had some pretty solid runs there in his number 73 car. Has been doing a really nice job over there in ARCA competition. He hasn't been in a Whelen Modified Tour car at least. He's been running some Sportsman Asphalt Modifieds up here, but first time in a Whelen Modified Tour car since 2021. But in his ARCA starts, running part-time, he's got 2 top 5s and 4 top 10s for Andy Jankowiak in his last 4 starts. So they've had a lot of success on the ARCA Menard side, but great to have Andy Jankowiak back in a Whelen Modified Tour car here tonight at Oswego Speedway. Perhaps the biggest story, and to many, the biggest surprise coming into this Toyota Mod Classic 150 was the return of John McKennedy in the number 77 car, the blue car to the left of your screen there. He'll start to the outside of row 3. McKennedy, the defending series champion, on June 20th, he announced that he and his car owner, Tim Lapine, had separated, parted ways. The team would be shutting down. The 79 team that he had so much success at, and really at the start of the season was at the top of his game, running well, had a good start to the season, and it didn't work out for that team. He was called coming into this event by Gary Putnam, car owner for that 77 car, with the opportunity to come here and race. And John McKennedy put that car 6th in qualifying earlier in the day today. We'll keep an eye on McKennedy and see what he can do driving Putnam's number 77 for the first time this season, and the first time back again since the month of June in Modified Tour competition. So the cars are going to be brought down pit road and give the teams an opportunity to clean the windshields off for the weather that is certainly in the area, and so they'll have an opportunity to do that. From a pit stop standpoint here tonight, they'll have live pit stops. You can see the way the pit road is laid out here at Oswego Speedway inside the infield. So they'll enter pit road just at the entrance of turn 3, and they'll rejoin on the back straightaway just at the exit of turn number 2. The way this race will play out, there'll be 3 tires that the teams can change. Pretty common in modified racing where you don't need to change that left front tire, but it'll be a 3-tire change for all of these cars here as the race goes on. And they are running tonight one of the more hard compounds that they've got in the series. NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour officials, in collaboration with the teams, the owners, and the crew chiefs, have been working to try to define the right tire combination for modified competition. Tonight they'll be running one of the harder tires in that allotment, a 510 right rear tire, which is the tire of choice for this particular event. Allows the drivers to be really aggressive on that tire and can use it a little more aggressively because it's a more aggressive tread on that tire. Not tread necessarily, but just a tire that is a little bit more durable for this particular race. And so that's something that they'll be looking at today. And this is not the first time that they've run these combinations throughout the 2023 campaign. So while the cars are down on pit road, they've got a couple of the crew members that have gone out to tend to the race cars to, again, clean those windshields off and make sure that they're ready to go. The windshields on these NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour really just on the left side, the driver's side of the vehicle, unlike your passenger car or what you might see in a late model, super late model, or even in NASCAR's National 3 Series. Just on the left side of the car, the right side is generally a grate that covers what is pretty much an open cockpit in these race cars, and so the crew will have an opportunity to go out there and get those cleaned before they fire off pit road here and go the 100 laps. So while we have an opportunity here to get this track dried and driver service, we'll take a quick break and come back. We'll have more with the Toyota Mod Classic 150 here at Oswego Speedway in a moment. Well, the cars are rolling once again here at Oswego Speedway, the Toyota Mod Classic 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. Under a couple of pace laps to continue to get these tires up to speed, dry some of the track off. The track crew has been great here, just fighting some of the weather that popped up really out of nowhere coming up from Lake Ontario to get us underway here this evening. But as the field rolls across the start-finish line, one of the other unique features here at this racetrack, as you can see, the flag stand on the inside of the racetrack, and we'll keep an eye on that all night long as we get rolling. Justin Bonsignor and Austin Beers up there on the front row. Those two drivers are in the middle of the championship battle. Justin Bonsignor is the second person in the championship standings, right behind Ronnie Silk in the 16 car, who will start 8th here tonight. Austin Beers in that 64 car, third in the standings. He is 37 points back, and a driver that is looking to have a much better result here at Oswego Speedway than he has in his two prior starts at this racetrack, as he looks to see if he can build on this second place qualifying effort and seal the deal on something that he tried to do last week, and that was get his third win of the season, led to only the final few laps at the Langley Speedway down in Virginia last week, and now has the opportunity to see what he can do here at Oswego Speedway. Field rolls on through the grid. Whelen Modified Tour for just the 16th time in the history of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, about ready to take on this 5/8 mile oval here in Oswego, New York, about a mile south of Lake Ontario, getting ready to go with Justin Bonsignor on the inside lane for the 5th time this season on the pole and ready to turn him loose. Austin Beers to the outside of row number 1. He's struck about ready to head in for cover. And we're about to get underway here in Oswego Speedway in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour as the field rolls up off turn number 4. Green flag is waving, and the NASCAR Modifieds are rumbling in New York. On the opening lap, Justin Bonsignor is able to sneak by Austin Beers. Beers taking a look to the inside off turn number 4, but here comes a quick challenge from Tommy Catalano in the 54 car. Working the outside lane, darts to the bottom of the back straightaway, challenges Austin Beers for second in turn 3. Catalano looking strong here in the early few stages, but trouble for last week's winner of the 22 of Kyle Bonsignor. His car skated way up the racetrack off turn number 4. He's going to lose a ton of positions, now battling back with Anthony Sesley. And while that happens, the battle for the lead beginning to intensify. Justin Bonsignor has Tommy Catalano right on him, and Catalano all over the back bumper of Bonsignor back to turn one. You can see that white steel boilerplate inside guardrail here at this racetrack. That's one of the tendencies. Contact between Austin Beers and Tommy Catalano in turn three. Catalano had swung wide getting down into turn three. Darted back across the racetrack, and Beers was there, and they came together. And Catalano, who started tonight's race in the fourth position, looking pretty racy here early on, wanting to get up front and challenge for the race lead. Tommy Catalano doesn't necessarily call this track his home track in that 54 car, but it is one of the closer tracks that the Catalano family will race at on the Whelen Modified Tour. And this team came up here a couple of weeks ago and tested under nighttime conditions so that they would be ready and have all their ducks in a row for just this opportunity. As he gets challenged now by Austin Beers, who works down to the bottom in turns 3 and 4. Again, battling for the second spot. Beers in the 64. Tommy Catalano in the 54, running in the outside lane. But Catalano, when he came here and tested, they did a series of runs. They did 3 40-lap runs with this team. Made some adjustments, wore their tires out so they knew what the car would run like at the end of a run. And then they put new tires on and went out and ran 95 laps so they knew what the car would look like on long runs. You look back through the history of this race, and it tends to have long runs, and that's why a lot of the teams and drivers would have focused on that in the early parts of the day in practice today. So don't necessarily count a driver out because they started mid-pack. A strategy that Ronnie Silk and his crew chief Phil Moran have used quite a bit this year is to qualify well, but make sure that they put the effort into running fast race speeds with long run speeds and conserving their equipment. And they did that again today with the qualifying effort being in the 8th place for Ronnie Silk in the 16 car. And we'll see whether or not he's got the speed on long run to be able to go up and challenge for position. Meanwhile, Melissa Fifield to the outside lane while race leader Justin Bonsignor had to go to the bottom. She gets pushed out to the high groove of the racetrack. Everybody dives down to the bottom lane of the track as Fifield slow up in the outside lane. 12 laps into today's Toyota Mod Classic 150 at Oswego Speedway. That gapped the leader a little bit. Now Justin Bonsignor able to gap Tommy Catalano and Austin Beers. Beers again trying to make that inside lane work as they come back across and down into turn 1. Riding in the 4th position is Bobby Santos. A little bit further back, you've got Craig Lutz on the move. Lutz had a good run here early last year in a team that has been trying to find better results on their campaign. Here's Silk now in the 16, the championship point leader, working underneath Tyler Ripkema in the 32, who's got a race car that's brand new to them. They've got one race on that car this season. That was at Lancaster earlier this year. And Tyler Ripkema loses a spot while Ronnie Silk continues to be on the hunt here early. Boy, Silk in that 16 car, they are really getting after it here in the early stages of this one. Trying to pick up ground, as is the 82 of Craig Lutz. 2 great battles to keep an eye on. Here is Silk. Ran out of room with that steel barrier to the inside, trying to find a lane underneath the 14 car. That's Bobby Santos here this weekend. I mentioned how this Labor Day weekend, classic weekend, is all about super modified racing for many, many years. Recently, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour added to the slate to really enhance what was already a great weekend here at Oswego Speedway. So Bobby Santos has got plenty of winged modified experience, super modified experience. He's won here at this racetrack before. He's in that 14 car. Chuck Hosfeld ran that car at Lancaster. Bobby Santos got the call to run it here this weekend, the 2010 champion. He's running 5th right now, getting a challenge from behind in the form of the 32 of Tyler Ripkema. That 82 of Craig Lutz a little bit further back is not afraid to put some moves out on track as well. He's in 8th right now, trying to pick up spots, and Catalano continues the pressure on Justin Bonsignor, looking outside as they come off track. Now the crossover move down to the bottom. does not quite have enough room to make it work, but Catalano putting the bumper to Justin Bonsignore. Tim Conley, the lap car, to the outside lane. Conley nearly coming together with Catalano, and that allows Justin Bonsignore to open up the race lead by a couple of car lengths. Back into turns 1 and 2. Bonsignore a car length or two ahead of Tommy Catalano, and boy, it has been quite a time since we've seen Catalano be this aggressive. He's got a very good race car, and he wants to make the most of it. Swings it out wide here in turn 1. This racetrack known for being bumpy. You can see the cars flexing and bouncing as they get down into the turn, especially down there into turn 3. Bonsignore goes wide to protect that outside lane as Tommy Catalano works the high lane of the racetrack, working over the race leader, draws alongside now in turn 1. He lost the nose, did Catalano, and could not keep the foot down to see if he could find a lane on Justin Bonsignore. But here comes Austin Beers now to challenge. And in the frame is the 16 car of Ronnie Silk. Started 8th, now inside the top 4. "25 laps in the Toyota Mod Classic 150 here at Oswego Speedway. It has been racy at the front of the field. Weather continues to linger in the area. A long way to go for this one, but these drivers are up on the wheel here today. As Bonsignore trying to make that car as wide as possible in that 51 and control the race lead, and Catalano just being aggressive, trying to find a way around him. Here's Silk now, working on the back bumper of Austin Beers in the battle for 3rd and 4th. Beers, who dominated the race last week at Langley Speedway, gave it up to Kyle Bonsignore in the late going when his car got a little bit too tight. Bonsignore able to get by and get the win, and Mike Murphy, that entire team, the car owner. Austin Beers, frustrated, angry, mad at a second-placed effort. Fifield down to the inside lane. Bonsignore to make a quick move to the right, go to the outside. And again, that will allow him to drive away from Tommy Catalano in the 54 car. Catalano a couple of car lengths back. Heat now, again, from Ronnie Silk, battling with Austin Beers there in the 3rd position. Those 3 cars, Justin Bonsignore second in the championship standings, leading laps now, will help him there. Austin Beers in the 64. Well, he sits 3rd in the standings and Ron Silk the leader. Here is a battle deeper in the field as Craig Lutz was able to work underneath John McKennedy in that 77 car. It was surprising to many NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour fans and people close to the sport to see that 79 team dissipate after a strong year, winning the title just 1 year ago in 2022. And John McKennedy that silent since June when they made that announcement on June 20th. Had the call and the opportunity to come race for Gary Putnam in the 77 car here this weekend, which is always a good car. We've seen Max McLaughlin in this car frequently this season. And the 77 of McKennedy currently running in the 8th position as he was just bypassed by Craig Lutz, some 2.9 seconds behind the race leader, Justin Bonsignore, who continues to try to work through some of the lap traffic. Gary McDonald right up ahead, and Tommy Catalano trying to continue to find a lap away around Justin Bonsignore if there's room to have it. Last season at the Richmond Raceway in Virginia, just the 2nd race of the season, Tommy Catalano nearly won his first Whelen Modified Tour race, and he had to battle Justin Bonsignore to get the job done that day. Bonsignore got him late. Catalano led a lot of laps that day. He and his brother in the field today, Tyler Catalano, making his NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour debut for the Catalano family. Brought a whole bunch of people to the racetrack, knowing that it was close to home and that it would be easier for them to find crew and support for the race. And they put a ton of effort into this run here today, and 35 laps in continues to look strong, but has not been able to find a way around Justin Bonsignore. typically, because the way this track is laid out, the outside lane of the track tends to be a little bit easier to be able to make a pass if you've got the speed to carry. Track could lay down some traction compound up there in the outside lane to aid those drivers that are looking to go to the high groove, but so far, Tommy Catalano has just not had enough speed to poke the nose to the outside of Justin Bonsignore and make that lane work. Put Ken Hagee a lap down, but the caution flag is waving. First caution of the night in the Toyota Mod Classic 150 here at Oswego Speedway. 38 laps in, and the problem is for Melissa Fifield. She's got damage on the left front of her modified, but Justin Bonsignore leads the way 38 laps in to Oswego Speedway. So lap 38, first caution of the day, and it's because Melissa Fifield runs into trouble. Left front damage for her car, the 0-1. Bring us under the caution flag. Justin Bonsignore has led so far the entire way from the pole position. He's a defending race winner of the Toyota Mod Classic 150. Looks like there was an incident for Tim Conley as well. He had a problem coming off of pit lane. Not sure whether or not that was the reason for Melissa Fifield. Does appear that Conley might have been coming off of pit lane. That contact was made with Melissa Fifield in the 01 car, so her car sits down to the inside. Tim Conley driving the Mystic Missile themed car, a 9-time winner on the series, returning after many years off as he focused on some of his business opportunities. Came back to modified competition with the entire gang and his family, and now has a chance to be able to go out and continue to compete now on a part-time basis on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour here this season. Take a look at how they run. Justin Bonsignore, the race leader, has led the entire way. Tommy Catalano has been second. Austin Beers, fourth for Ron Silk, started 8th, moved up to the 4th spot. Bobby Santos riding quietly in the 5th position, making his 3rd start this season. Tyler Ripkema, Craig Lutz in 7th. John McKennedy is 8th, 9th for Anthony Cecily, and Kyle Bonsignore, your top 10. Brian Narducci, 11th. Tyler Catalano, Andy Jankowiak back in 13th, and Jimmy Zacharias in 14th. Ken Hagee is on 15th, and he is the last car being scored on the lead lap so far here tonight in the Toyota Mod Classic 150. NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour is heading into their final stretch of the season. Just 6 races left to go on the series schedule if you include tonight. And a pretty good purse on hand for tonight's race as well. $10,000 to win the race here tonight. Over $91,000 in posted awards for the field as last week's winner Kyle Bonsignore in the 22 car on pit road, getting some adjustments made to that race car, get it to where he wants it to be. Cam McDermott calling the shots as a crew chief for the 22 of Kyle Bonsignore. Bonsignore picked up the win last week in Langley Speedway. And funny story about Bonsignore, many who follow modified racing knows that Kyle Bonsignore had actually moved out to Illinois. He had a tool truck route that he had driven on. His last win prior to last week came in 2018. He won at the fall final at the Stafford Motor Speedway. After that, he moved out to Illinois. Family lived out there for 5 years or so. Just before he won the race at Langley Speedway, he moved back to Salisbury, North Carolina, which is where he was before he made the trip out to Illinois. And that 22 team got the win. And it seems the joke was going with the 22 team that he's got to live in North Carolina if he wants to win Whelen Modified Tour races. Getting ready to go back under the green flag, Justin Bonsignore on the inside. We'll lead him back to the green flag here at Oswego Speedway as we get back underway at the Toyota Mod Classic 150. Bonsignore, a quick start for him. He's able to break free of Tommy Catalano in the 54. Now the battle on for second. Here's Austin Beers working the inside lane, trying to find room and see if he can move back up into the second spot. Underneath Tommy Catalano, trying to complete the pass up off turn number 4, but Catalano still there as they come across the line. Beers able to complete the pass down in turn 2. Silk not able to fill the gap to the inside. Behind them, Bobby Santos in the 14 car having a challenge from Tyler Ripkema. As Ripkema, he's got to deal with the 82 car of Craig Lutz. Up front, Austin Beers going to try to challenge Justin Bonsignor for the top position. A tight pack of cars all the way through the field, working nose to tail. You see the rubber up there on the outside lane of the racetrack as a flash-on pass to start-finish line to put 46 laps into the record books here tonight. And Austin Beers continuing on the hunt on Bonsignor, looks inside on the front straightaway. This is one of those racetracks where if you can get a decent run up off the corner, you can sometimes pull to the inside of a driver and work to their bottom, but most often the outside lane, if you can roll the top, is where you can be and make some moves. But drivers know that, and you can see the veteran of Justin Bonsignor protecting that high lane as Silk behind them will make a move to the inside lane, showing the strength of his car. Trying to bring Bobby Santos right along with him. So Silk makes the bottom work. Now Austin Beers trying to do the same. Inside move, but Bonsignor just slams the door shut at the entrance of turn one. So the strength of Ronnie Silk to be able to pull alongside somebody and work to the bottom, significant for his race car. How about Kyle Bonsignor? Remember, he just came down pit road. He's starting to carve his way through traffic. Just gets by the 59 car of Andy Jankowiak. That's going to move Kyle Bonsignor inside the top 10. McKennedy is there, putting pressure on the 59 of Jankowiak. See if he can find some racing room there a bit deeper in the pack, just outside the top 10. Austin Beers is not going to let Justin Bonsignor run and hide here tonight. And Ronnie Silk, he's going to stick right with him. We saw him make a move to the inside to move into third. Went high, now goes to the bottom in turn one. Beers will give him room to the bottom. Up against that steel barrier on the inside groove of the racetrack. Here comes Ronnie Silk in turn three. You see Justin Bonsignor and Austin Beers running up there in that outside lane. Especially in turns 3 and 4, you see Beers moving up a little bit. They tend to do that as the tires start to wear out deeper into a run. And Ronnie Silk, recognizing that, wants to put his race car where the others are not running and see if he can continue to move forward. Here's McKennedy now, working to the inside of Andy Jankowiak in the battle for 11th. And he will bring Jimmy Zacharias, his first start since 2016, right along with him. Jankowiak up the racetrack in turn 2. Great action there. Jimmy Zacharias able to get by 2 cars on that pass. The 59 of Andy Jankowiak and got by John McKennedy. Now here's Tyler Catalano making his debut in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour underneath the 59 of Andy Jankowiak. He'll pick up a spot as well, so that Jankowiak now from 11th back to 14th on track, losing quite a bit of ground here in just a handful of laps. Left side of your screen though, look at this battle up front. 5 drivers. All hungry. The top 3 in the championship battle. 4th and 5th. Part-time here this season. But the top 3 really going after it. Ryan Stone prepares that 51 car for Justin Bonsignor. And Justin Bonsignor said a couple of weeks ago, he said, you know what, I need to go out there and I need to control these races. I'm not going to be in a position where we don't qualify well and we're dictated by the pace that somebody else wants to set. I want to go out there. I want to set the pace. And that has worked well for him. Starting at the race at Thompson Speedway just a couple of weeks ago in August in a Wednesday night event. And that mentality has allowed him to close the gap before this race, just 1 point or 1 position on the racetrack behind the championship point leader, Ronnie Silk. And Ronnie Silk is continuing to find pressure underneath Austin Beers. Beers goes way up the racetrack in turn 3. Lost the nose, but he could not get underneath, could Ronnie Silk, with the lap car of Gary McDonald in the preferred groove to the bottom, and he just could not do anything with him. McDonald where he needed to be on the racetrack, but Ronnie Silk ended up chasing Austin Beers up the hill last time through in turns 3 and 4. And you saw Justin Bonsignor drive away a bit, but now here comes Beers starting to close in quickly back to the back bumper of Justin Bonsignor. It appears by what we see, and we saw this in that first green flag run, that Beers can get to the back bumper of Justin Bonsignor, but he just doesn't quite have a car fast enough to drive underneath him or to drive around the outside groove of the racetrack and get that race lead from Justin Bonsignor. This racetrack through the years has attracted some of the best modified racing with some of the biggest names in competition. They started racing here back in 1988 under the Whelen Modified Tour banner, and they ran several races here at this racetrack for the first couple of years. Took several years off and then returned to the series in 2016 for a race that was won by Doug Kobe. And have been pretty regular back here at the Oswego Speedway ever since. And the drivers will all tell you the speed at this racetrack compares a lot to what you see at Thompson Speedway. Very, very fast racetrack. The only difference is the banking at Thompson much higher, twice as much as what we've got here at this 5/8 mile track. Both tracks about the same size, configured quite a bit different with the characteristics of the racetrack here in Oswego, New York. But before the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour competed here, it was a track that had some of the best paying modified races and would attract all the favorites, the Richie Evans, the Charlie Jarzambacks, and more that would come here and race here at Oswego Speedway and highlight some of the most impressive action back in that era. And so it's so great to have the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour and the modern era of modified racing on this racetrack that's got so much history here in upstate New York. Starting to close in on the halfway point of the 150 laps here today, just 7 laps away, and Justin Bonsignor continuing to hold Austin Beers, Ronnie Silk, Tommy Catalano in the 54 car at bay. Bobby Santos has fallen back a little bit there in the 5th position as Santos rides just ahead of Craig Lutz, who's out of the frame in the 6th spot, quite a few seconds back from this top 5 battle. There you see the top 5 cars battling. There is Craig Lutz in 6th. Craig, a 4-time winner in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. And that team starting to show a lot more speed here in the second half of the season after what was a pretty struggle first half of the season for them here in 2023. But that car is starting to come to life, not only tonight, has made some very efficient moves in that 82 car. Started 9th tonight, carved his way up to the 6th place, just outside the top 5. And at some point in time, should we get another caution, from this point forward, you can expect that these drivers will have the opportunity to come down pit road and grab 3 more tires and take advantage of that. They can go the whole way if they need to, but if the caution comes out, you know they're going to want to come down pit road and grab those tires. Beers working over the back bumper of Justin Bonsignor, trying to see if he can find anything, study that 51 car like he has all season long. He's been right in the hunt. Has that 64 car for Austin Beers. Does not have all that many starts here at Oswego for Beers in that 64 car. And I think coming into this race, Beers said, if I could just walk away with a top 5 finish, that'll be a good day for me. That would be success. Average finish of 16th in 2 starts here at Oswego Speedway. Not a strong track. And you look at this point in the season, Beers has stepped up when he needed to the most. Winning at Richmond, the great run last week. Winning prior to that at Lancaster Speedway, the other track here in upstate New York that the series ran at in the month of August. The question coming into this one is, can Austin Beers maintain the strength and speed and the surprise that he has had all season long being fast at these racetracks and keep his name in the championship battle? I mean, with Justin Bonsignor, the race leader, Ronnie Silk sitting there in 3rd, even if Austin Beers has that top 5 run tonight, he's not going to close in on the championship lead unless something goes his way, unless Silk or Bonsignor have trouble. Caution flag is out, second time tonight. Anthony Sesley involved, 76 laps in to tonight's Toyota Mod Classic 150. Just a lap past halfway. Justin Bonsignor, he's led the whole way so far here at Oswego Speedway. Caution is out for the second time tonight. So the field will gather up behind the pace truck here at Oswego Speedway. Is this the prime opportunity to come down pit road and grab some tires and get these cars set up for the finish? This racetrack has certainly featured some long run fields, and this is another one here tonight. First run, 38 laps in before we saw the first caution of the evening. Went another 38 laps before the second caution of the evening, even a little further than that. So a couple of good distance runs here to kick this one off, and Justin Bonsignor has been undeterred by all of that. His team has been focused and prepared here on this one, and they have certainly looked strong all night long in that 51 car. Austin Beers has been inside the top 5 all day as well in the 64. Ron Silk, Tommy Catalano, and the 14 car, which is Bobby Santos here tonight. Pit road is open, and Justin Bonsignor is going to lead the crew down pit road. Live pit stops here tonight at Oswego, and we'll see whether or not pit stops become a factor here again this evening. That has happened many, many times this year in the Whelen Modified Tour. We'll follow the 51 car of Justin Bonsignor down to his stall. Also in on pit road, the 82 car of Craig Lutz, one of the first cars that hit his pit stall. Here you see the 3-tire change for Justin Bonsignor and the crew. Changing the rear tires first. Loosening up those lug nuts on the right front tire so as soon as they jack that car up, they'll be able to change the 2 right sides and be on their way. Right side work already underway for the 64 of Austin Beers. Good clean stop on the right rear. Right front going on. Looked like they might have dropped a lug nut. They'll zing those back on. Pick up the air gun. Already off of pit road, though, is going to be the 14 car, but it's Justin Bonsignor who's going to win the race off of pit road. It's going to be Ronnie Silk who's off in second in a slow stop for the 64 car of Austin Beers. Third off pit road, Bobby Santos and Tommy Catalano. What a tough, slow pit stop for the 64 car of Austin Beers and that entire team. They had a couple of lug nuts that dropped on the right front tire for their race car, and they had to pick those up, zing those back on, and Austin Beers and his team is going to lose a whole bunch of spots. He's going to move from the second position to the bottom half of the top 10 when we get back under the green flag here at Oswego. So a devastatingly slow stop for Austin Beers. He's going to have some work to do if he's going to carve his way back up through the field and see if he can challenge Justin Bonsignor and the rest of the top 10 for the win here tonight. Bonsignor and his team, though, good, quick, efficient pit work. One of the best pit crews in the series. Proved it once again. First on, first off for Justin Bonsignor. He had a quick pit stop. Ronnie Silk across in second. Good quick work for them. They'll gain a spot on pit road. And Bobby Santos, he picked up 2 spots on that round of pit stops. Also picking up spots, John McKennedy. He was deeper out in the 10th position before they came down pit road. He came out pit road 6th. And Tyler Catalano picked up several spots on pit road as well in the 84 car. Let's take a look at that 64 pit stop. You see trouble there as they work their way in. First problem was the air hose got hung around the right front tire when they came down pit road. Good clean stop in the left rear, but watch the right front here. They'll change the right front. Left front is already off. Easy and quick getting that tire off. You see right there when they go to put the tire on, they could not quite get that right front put back on. And as a matter of fact, they even made an adjustment on the shock while they were doing that. And that might have been more of the problem as to why it was a slow stop for Austin Beers. So not only the drop lug nut on the right front, but also a shock adjustment made on that 64 car. Whether or not that adjustment will have enough in it to make up the speed that he needed to get by Justin Bonsignor and the rest of the team, well, we're going to find out here in the second half of tonight's Toyota Mod Classic 150 at Oswego Speedway. Lots of action still left to go in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. I was talking about it earlier. That's 5 races after tonight. Next weekend, it's the Granite State Short Track Cup season finale, rescheduled from an event that was canceled on the schedule at the Claremont Speedway earlier this season, a JDV production event. It's the Winchester Fair for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and its second trip to Monadnock Speedway here this season. Following that, 2 weeks from tonight, Riverhead, the third stop of the season there, the Eddie Partridge 256. They'll put barriers in the infield at the Riverhead Raceway on the tip of Long Island and have live pit stops on that one. That was a pretty fun event when they did that for the first time last season. 256 race. Still have a trip to North Wilkesboro, Thompson Speedway, and the championship that'll be decided in October at the Martinsville Speedway. We are ready to get back under the green flag here at Oswego Speedway, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour in town for Classic Weekend with Justin Bonsignore, who has won the pole position earlier today and has led every lap under the green flag. Ron Silk, the championship point leader on the outside lane. The green flag waves and we're back underway in Oswego. Battle is on for the top spot. Bottom lane is Justin Bonsignore on the outside, trying to see if he can sneak up to the outside groove alongside Bonsignore. That is Ronnie Silk. Silk stayed up there for a moment, but he can't make it stick, and Bonsignore holds on to the race lead once again. Here comes the 64 car, though, of Austin Beers. Silk diving inside in turn 3. Washes up the hill on the exit of turn 4 for Ron Silk, and Tommy Catalano putting the pressure on. So Austin Beers lost several spots on pit road. Already up to the 4th position when we get back under the green flag. That's the 82 of Craig Lutz, trying to move underneath Bobby Santos for the 5th position. Here comes Silk. Inside lane, Ronnie Silk looking for the race lead, and for the first time tonight, Justin Bonsignore not out in front. Now Tommy Catalano works to the bottom. Austin Beers works to the bottom. Justin Bonsignore opened up that inside lane, and just about everybody gets through, but he cannot for Austin Beers. Beers just did not have a lane to the bottom, and Bonsignore again shuts that door. So on lap 88, Ronnie Silk takes over to the race lead. Winner of this event in 2021, Ronnie Silk, out in front here in Oswego. Silk showing the way. Tommy Catalano now in second. He's been inside the top 5 all day, having one of the best races of his Whelen Modified Tour career. Catalano has been a factor all night long. Silk, who started in the 8th spot, had to slice his way through traffic, picked up a couple of spots, 1 spot on pit road, worked his way forward and put himself in position to challenge for the race lead. And Bonsignore has not faded. We'll see if the tires, the adjustments that they made on pit road, we'll see if that car is just as fast as it was out in front, now riding in 3rd for Bonsignore in the 51. Catalano in the 54 car was not able to get around Justin Bonsignore. We'll see how his car stacks up against the 16 car of Ronnie Silk. Changing his groove, you see him diving in outside and inside for the 54 of Catalano. Trying to maintain that momentum, the speed, to gain a good run on the 16 of Silk, the race leader. Silk a bit wider in turn 4. Here is Craig Lutz. This is a battle for 5th. Lutz working inside on the 14 car of Bobby Santos, and he completes the pass. So it's Lutz in the 82, the 14 of Santos on the back straightaway, and the 77 of John McKennedy. Kyle Bonsignore in the 22, who came down pit road before the caution to make adjustments on his car, is now running the 8th spot. Great action just outside the top 5, and Craig Lutz sneaking by Bobby Santos to pick up another spot. Santos now looks in the rearview mirror, and he's got a challenge from behind as John McKennedy in the 77 is there looking outside, now poking the nose inside in turn 1. Kyle Bonsignore said, you know, last year we had a great run here at this racetrack. 2 top 10s, started 3rd last year, and he said, if I can get a race car at Oswego Speedway that mirrored what we had last week at Langley, where we qualify decent and improve upon it slightly going into the race, I think we're going to have a great day. They made some improvements earlier with that first caution on lap 38 when they came down pit road, but that 22 car has been mired about where he's been all night long, in the 8th position, just inside the top 10. You can see him searching down in turn 1, going a little bit higher than the cars in front of him, see if he can find some more grip there. Here is McKennedy going to the bottom, but Santos not giving him room there. Both Santos and McKennedy have quite a bit of experience at this track racing super modified. Matter of fact, tomorrow, the Classic 200 for super modified competition. It was offered John McKennedy an opportunity to fill in one of those cars here tomorrow. Thought he was going to be doing double duty, but they were not needed for that fill-in role. So McKennedy running here in the Whelen Modified Tour this evening in the 77 car for Gary Putnam in a last-minute call. The defending series champion return to Whelen Modified Tour competition. And McKennedy back in 7th. Back up in front, 50 laps to go. Ronnie Silk leading the way here in Oswego, has been able to hold Tommy Catalano at bay, who's a car length or 2 behind. Justin Bonsignor, 2 car lengths off the back bumper, has lost the race lead on lap 88 and has not been able to gather it back in and challenge Catalano for 2nd. And then Austin Beers rides in 4th. You go back to that great battle we were watching a moment ago, pretty healthy gap among the top 4 cars, back to this 6th place battle between Bobby Santos and the 14 and the 77 of John McKennedy. Tyler Ripkema now in the middle of that battle as well, as his car starting to come to life in the late stages of this run. Ripkema in that 32 car runs in 9th, as he has picked up a spot over Kyle Bonsignor in the 10th position now in car number 22. So here is Tyler Ripkema on that 32 car. They had a strong run going a couple of weeks ago at Lancaster in this very same race car. This is a race car that was bought from the Partridge Racing team. Connie Partridge sold this car to Tyler Ripkema. They worked on the car at New Smyrna Speedway at the beginning of the season and ran the tour-type modified show down there at Speed Weeks. Ran it at Lancaster, but they had a chassis component break on the car, the 32 car, that prevented them from having a strong run, and was pretty optimistic about his chances of having a good run here tonight. And right now he's inside the top 10, currently running 8th for Ripkema, and he's done a nice job after the pit stop to rally and gain positions on track. And he continues to hound the back bumper here of McKennedy. He has reeled these cars in, getting by Kyle Bonsignor, and you can see Ripkema running a much lower groove, and that allows him to close in again on McKennedy as they come across the line. McKennedy opening up that bottom lane a little bit. Ripkema seeing if he can find room. McKennedy looking outside in turn 3. Ripkema pretty solid to stick to the inside, as McKennedy, just like we saw at the start of the race in the battle for the lead between Justin Bonsignor and Austin Beers, McKennedy just not able to find the speed of the outside lane to challenge at the exit of turn 4 and keep his car alongside Bobby Santos. But he'll try the crossover move in turn 1, but doesn't have the room to make it work. Here's Ripkema now closing in on John McKennedy as McKennedy backpedals a little bit. Ripkema looking inside in turn 3. Didn't quite have it that time. And while these drivers have been battling, Anthony Cecily, who was involved in that second caution of the night in the number 19 car, is starting to close in. Cecily is back inside the top 10. Running part-time this season, but he's got 3 top 5s this year, 5 top 10s, and just 8 starts for Anthony Cecily. Knocking on the door, trying to get another top 10, where he runs right now with 40 laps to go in the Toyota Mod Classic 150 at Oswego Speedway. You're watching the battle here from fixed on BAP. Right side of your screen, that is the race lead. Ronnie Silk leading the way, took over the race lead on lap 88. Tommy Catalano has been 2nd or 3rd just about all night. Started in the 4th position tonight. Picked up a couple of spots early on in the race. Here's Ripkema on the left-hand side of your screen. Inside lane, sneaks underneath. John McKennedy gives him the Nerf bar to get the spot away. And now Kyle Bonsignor into the side of John McKennedy. McKennedy outside. You can see a little bit of damage on the bumper of the 77 car of McKennedy. As Anthony Cecily now trying to work underneath McKennedy, but McKennedy was able to slam that door shut, but walks up the racetrack off turn 2, and here comes Anthony Cecily in the 19 car underneath, and he'll move into the 9th spot. So McKennedy, pushed up the racetrack by Tyler Ripkema, will lose a handful of spots here as Ripkema was able to sneak on by, and now he's putting pressure on the 14 car of Bobby Santos in a battle for 6th. Here's McKennedy in the 77 car, but up ahead, Santos in the 14 car, and the 32 of Tyler Ripkema is there. Tap to the back bumper for Ripkema. He knows he's got a fast race car tonight, 5th in the series standings. And if he can get by the 14 car here of Santos, that'd be a good thing, but trouble for the 82. That is Craig Lutz. He was running in the 5th position, and he is slow to the inside of the racetrack on the front straightaway. Caution flag is out. For the 3rd time tonight, the caution is out. The 82 car of Craig Lutz was slow to the inside lane. He was running 5th at the time, 33 laps to go. And it's Ronnie Silk who's out in front of the Toyota Mod Classic 150 at Oswego Speedway. So Ronnie Silk out in front. And another run lasting about 50 laps or so when we got back under the green flag. 33 laps ago when the caution flag came out. And there was problems for the 82 car of Craig Lutz, and they're taking a look at the left side of that car, but Lutz about ready to climb out of it. Steering wheel off, undoing the helmet. Window net already down on the 82 car. You see the crew member working alongside the right side of it. Track crew out working the inside groove of the racetrack, so something expiring on the 82 car. They're going to go ahead and look under the hood, and what a tough break. The Danny Watts owned 82. Team was very strong here tonight. Solid top 5 car. Did a nice job qualifying in 9th for the 4-time series winner Craig Lutz. Started carving his way through the field. Looked like he was going to get another top 10 here this season, if not a top 5. But it wasn't to be, and this racetrack has been very kind to him over the years. He usually runs pretty well here, and only a handful of starts for Craig Lutz. So field working under the 3rd caution here tonight in the Toyota Mod Classic 150. Tyler Ripkema in that 32 car. Boy, what a strong run he's had here in the late stages of this one. Right now running outside the top 5 in the 6th spot in that 32 car. The car prepared over the last handful of races by Jan Leedy, Mike Leedy, and that entire team. They were here on hand working to crew the car for the first time. Normally they do the prep at their race shop, but for the first time they joined the pit crew of that 32 car just to add a little support at the racetrack. He's felt very, very confident and strong about this racetrack, and this is their home track for sure. They are from Oswego, New York, which is actually about 2 hours from here, not to be confused with Oswego, New York. And that is where Tyler Ripkema and his team have run. They call this their home track. They've got a lot of folks here on hand to watch the racing action and really expected and wanted to go out and run well for his hometown crowd and try to get the most out of this track. He's had quite a few races here at this track in modified competition. He's putting that to work here as the field gets doubled up and gets ready to go back under the green flag. Field rolling down the back straightaway. Ronnie Silk won here at Oswego Speedway in 2021, looking to do the same. Tommy Catalano looking for that very first NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour victory and he has been strong all night long inside the top 5 since the drop of the green flag. Getting ready to turn him loose one more time here at Oswego Speedway as they roll up off turn number 4. Green flag goes in the air. Ronnie Silk, quick on the bottom lane, able to scamper away from Tommy Catalano. Catalano settles in line in second. Battle is on for third. Bonsignor working the inside lane to the 64 of Austin Beers, and Tyler Ripkema was able to get by Bobby Santos to move into 5th. He might have one of the fastest cars on track. See if he can become a factor here in the final 27 laps. Beers stuck to the outside as Bonsignor works the bottom, looking to move back into the 3rd spot for Bonsignor. Ripkema there trying to see if he can sneak underneath Austin Beers while he's trapped to the outside. Silk. Pressure from behind from Tommy Catalano, who follows in his tire tracks in the back straightaway. Still side by side for third between Bonsignor in the 51 and Austin Beers in the 64. So close across the start-finish line. On the front straightaway. Nearly coming together with those open tires again on the back straightaway. Bonsignor holding the bottom lane. Pushing up the hill at the exit of turn 4. Can Beers keep his foot in it? He stays with him here across the stripe one more time. Bonsignor able to complete the pass off turn 2, and Ripkema, even though they were running side by side, was not able to close in on that battle. He's now a couple of car lengths behind in 5th. Well, Justin Bonsignor back up to the 3rd spot, led the first half and then some of this race, but fell back under the last restart. Does he have anything left to be able to get by Tommy Catalano and go on the attack and find a way around the 16 car of Ronnie Silk? First, he's got to get by Catalano, but here comes Austin Beers challenge into the inside lane. Catalano looks to the left side, and it's Justin Bonsignor muscling his way to the inside. Bonsignor is there. Lap traffic up ahead. Bonsignor into the back of Gary McDonald and into the foam barrier of turn 1. Tommy Catalano collected as well. Tyler Catalano, Ken Hagee, and the 59 car of Andy Jankowiak all go around as well. But trouble for second man in points. The 51 of Justin Bonsignor and the 54 of Tommy Catalano. You can see the foam all over the hood of that race car. They went charging down into turn 1. Bonsignor's car went airborne when he hit the back of Gary McDonald. They'll pull the foam off of Tommy Catalano's race car. Unbelievable chain of events here as they were battling for position on the racetrack. Watch McDonald in the inside groove. To the bottom, Catalano trying to pinch off the 51 of Justin Bonsignor, forced Bonsignor into the back of Gary McDonald. His car went airborne and then straight into the fence in turn 1, and that is not what he needed when he was trying to close in on the race lead and the championship point lead of Ronnie Silk. There you see Tommy Catalano taking a look at his race car. Justin Bonsignor is out of his car. Both drivers are out. Catalano going to go in and just turn the switch off, and the frustration. Dejected walk for Justin Bonsignor. He knew he had a fast race car tonight, but 3 wide into turn 1 was not going to work with a lap car to the bottom. Catalano equally, I'm sure, as disappointed with the strength of the run that he had tonight. Having one of a career best run, and for Catalano and that entire team, put so much effort into running here at Oswego, a test and everything that they wanted to do, but just couldn't make it work. You saw Tommy Catalano there a second ago grabbing his head and neck restraint device, trying to make that work. See if he can possibly get back inside that race car, it would appear. Replay again. Tommy Catalano and Justin Bonsignor, the 2 cars came together before they got into turn 1 and before contact was made with the 26 of Gary McDonald. Watch it again here. Contact there. And that left front tire of Bonsignore got into Gary McDonald before they went sailing off into the styrofoam barrier here at the outside of turn 1. Tyler Ripkema also catching a little bit. Take a look at it again. McDonald well out of the way, running the inside groove, and the race leaders just did not give that lap car enough room to the inside. Hard to go 3 wide at this racetrack, but McDonald running the bottom, as lap cars are instructed to do. Bonsignore trying to steer up the racetrack just a bit. He saw that car ahead, was running out of room. Catalano trying to make the pass, hold on to second, and get around Gary McDonald around the outside lane, and he just ran out of racetrack. So Tommy Catalano has taken his head and neck restraint device on and off a couple of times here. It looks like he's putting it back in with the possibility of maybe seeing if this race car can get back underway here in this 54 car. So Catalano's going to climb back in. They've got the 51 car directly ahead of Justin Bonsignore on the back of the wrecker here. Going to try to tow that back out of the way. NASCAR official there working with Tommy Catalano as he gets seated back in his race car, likely getting strapped back in. Wonder if he's going to see if he can get that car rolling once again and get back out on track after colliding with that styrofoam barrier to the outside of turn 1. The red flag is out. There's 20 laps to go. Field has been stopped. And another look at the replay. Down the front straightaway, contact there, and there's Bonsignore into the wall. Catalano hit the wall first with the left front tire, and then less impact with the left rear tire. And Tommy Catalano was looking at that left front. You see it here again. Just not a lot of room with Gary McDonald down to the inside groove of the racetrack. And the race leaders trying to contest for a spot that would give them an opportunity to go after Ron Silk. So the window net back up on the 54 of Tommy Catalano. The track crew trying to replace some of these styrofoam barriers that are up against the steel barrier here at the Steel Palace in Oswego Speedway. Crew sweeping up as much of the styrofoam as possible to get it taken off track. Again, the red flag has been displayed. There's 20 laps to go in tonight's Toyota Mod Classic 150. Ron Silk is the race leader. This is going to change the running order quite a bit. Unofficially, Ron Silk the race leader, Austin Beers, Bobby Santos, Kyle Bonsignore, Anthony Sesley. But that is an unofficial running order at the moment. The way NASCAR timing and scoring works is there's one scoring loop on the racetrack. They will go back to the last completed lap, and that was at the start-finish line. Ronnie Silk will be the leader. The rest of the order we'll have to sort out and see how it all sorts out before they get back under the green flag here and get the caution flag rolling once again. But there you see the 54 car of Tommy Catalano strapped inside his race car. So the 54 of Tommy Catalano, we got some of the foam that actually went under their car. There is the rest of the field paused on the straightaway. Ronnie Silk in the 16 car, seeing if he can capture an opportunity here. Austin Beers said it before the race, does not wish anything bad against any of his opponents battling for the lead. But the reality of it is for Austin Beers, if he wants a shot at the championship this year, he's going to need a little bit of luck, and luck in the form of bad luck of some of his fellow championship contenders. And that's just a fact. Not wishing it on anybody, but with 6 races left, 5 after tonight, and 37 points behind, Austin Beers needed to have Justin Bonsignore or Ronnie Silk stumble just a little bit. And this is an opportunity for Ron Silk to expand that championship lead, and Austin Beers to see if he can close in on the 51 car at least after tonight. So this is going to change that championship battle quite a bit. Car is back down in the infield here at Oswego Speedway. Red flag is still displayed, so they can't work on the car just yet. They can look at it. They can take it off the wrecker and leave it down there on jack stands, but that's about as far as they can go to see if they get that car repaired. It's got to have a pretty decent amount of damage on the left front as a caution flag now displayed from atop the flag stand with the way it got airborne. There's Tommy Catalano. That car rolling once again. You see the styrofoam inside that left rear tire where it made contact. Left front tire is down, but the car drivable and rolling again, so the crew will come down pit road and try to get that car repaired. And if they do it right, Catalano might be able to stay on the lead lap. Right now, I do believe he would still be on the lead lap when he comes back around and crosses the start-finish line here on pit road. So the crew's going to stop him. They had a whole bunch of crew members and family here at this track, 4 brothers of the Catalano family. Even their mom races modifieds. Dad, he's a crew guy, tunes these race cars. They'll quickly put a left side tire on. They had a lot of folks on hand here to support their effort. And Tommy Catalano trying to get this car repaired in his team to see if he can get that car back out onto the racetrack. But I'm sure with the contact between he and Bonsignor and then that outside wall, they've probably got a little bit of suspension damage on that race car. As they've got the tire on it, Catalano rolling once again, and he is indeed still on the lead lap for the moment as the rest of the field is rolling. Rolls by the 51 of Bonsignor, that car down on pit road. And they continue the work there as the field will pass by Tommy Catalano. So we'll keep an eye on the timing and scoring. We'll get you updated once everything cycles back around here under this caution period, as we're down to just 19 laps to go. So Tommy Catalano rejoins at the tail end of the field, and he is indeed 1 lap off the pace. So here's how they look after they cross the line. Ronnie Silk is the race leader. Austin Beers second. Bobby Santos is third. Fourth for Kyle Bonsignor. And fifth for Anthony Sesley. Jimmy Zacharias, his first race since 2016. He's sixth. Anthony Sesley is sixth. Jimmy Zacharias is seventh. John McKennedy, eighth. Ken Hagee is ninth. They are on the lead lap. Tyler Catalano is 10th. Andy Jankowiak, Tommy Catalano, both being shown 1 lap down. And on pit road, a tough break for Tyler Ripkema, as Ripkema and his team, they caught that styrofoam barrier. After contact was made, the barrier came across the racetrack. They hit it with the front of their race car. It appeared to be on the right front, but the crew doing some work here, trying to tape that body panel down between the nose and the hood and make sure the hood is secure on that 32 car for Tyler Ripkema. But a tough break for them, and he'll make his way back out on track and see if he can rejoin still on the lead lap. So the field has been given the signal to double up, 17 laps to go, and the front row looks a little bit different. Ronnie Silk on the bottom, Austin Beers to the outside lane. John McKennedy on pit road for late service as well. In that 77 car. So Ron Silk on the bottom. Lights in the pace truck have gone out. Can Austin Beers get another win? Can Bobby Santos or Kyle Bonsignor get another win? Green flag is out at Oswego. 16 laps to go, and Ronnie Silk to the bottom lane of the racetrack has a challenge. Austin Beers up top as they go side by side for the race lead down in turn 3. Silk way up the racetrack. Kyle Bonsignor way up the racetrack behind. Silk away with the race lead, and Austin Beers will fall back outside the top 5. Down the back straightaway they go. Bobby Santos now riding in second. Third is Anthony Sesley, and Austin Beers will be fourth, as he was not able to allow the Craig Lutz machine to get underneath him and go by. So Beers in fourth. Sesley now challenging, seeing if he can find a lane underneath the 14 for the second spot. And what a tough break for the 22 car of Kyle Bonsignor, who missed turn 3 after we went back under the green flag. Ron Silk has been able to open up a 6/10 of a second advantage to second place Bobby Santos. Santos with heat from behind. Anthony Sesley is there, and here comes Tommy Catalano trying to race his way back up through the field. Kyle Bonsignor is there, giving him the chrome horn off the turn. Catalano goes wide. Kyle Bonsignor, trying to find room to the inside lane of the racetrack. Nothing doing there, and Jimmy Zacharias in the 71 car in the mix. Austin Beers able to move into third. As battling a little bit deeper in the field, the 71 and the 22 of Kyle Bonsignor. Austin Beers is not done yet, putting the pressure on the 14 car of Bobby Santos. Here comes Austin Beers to the bottom lane of the racetrack. Can he find room in turn one? Santos slams the door shut. He'll hold on to second for the time being. Time is running out to see whether or not Austin Beers can find a way to get around Bobby Santos and challenge Ronnie Silk for the win here tonight in Oswego. 8 laps to go, this time by for Ronnie Silk. Beers looking outside, settles back in line. As here comes Anthony Sesley with Beers looking high. Austin Beers has tried just about everything he could here tonight to get away around the cars in front of him. Looks inside in turn 3. Santos able to pinch off the lane to the bottom and holds on to the second spot one more time. Bobby Santos, former series champion, crafty veteran of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. But so is Ronnie Silk, who shows the way. Beers again inside this time of turn 3. He's got room underneath Santos. And Austin Beers moves into second. But with 5 laps to go, does he have enough to go after Ronnie Silk? Silk working around some lap traffic. The 64 of Beers able to gap Bobby Santos for second. There's McDonald, who was a big factor in that incident earlier today as he was on the bottom lane of the racetrack under that last caution period. Silk is just about set sail, but the caution flag comes out now once again for the 4th time tonight. Caution flag is out in the late going of this one, and it's for Tim Conley, who has spun to the inside. The Tim Conley brings out the caution 4 laps away from the scheduled finish of this one, and Ronnie Silk sees exactly what he didn't want to see, and that's a caution flag in the late going. So Ronnie Silk will now have to battle Austin Beers one more time as Tim Conley is able to get that car rolling once again. And that might create the opportunity for Tommy Catalano to get back on the lead lap, as Tommy Catalano was the first car 1 lap down, and he'll be able to roll forward. Catalano running in 11th will get the free pass and be able to come back around and see if he can challenge for a top 10 before this one is over. But it does look like today's race is going to be going into overtime here in the Toyota Mod Classic 150 at Oswego Speedway, all part of the historic 64th running of the Classic weekend at this racetrack. Earlier in the event, 33 laps to go, there was problems. Justin Bonsignor came together with the lapped automobile of Gary McDonald while fighting for second with Tommy Catalano, and that changed the picture of this race quite a bit because Bonsignor led the first half of this race, and then Ronnie Silk was able to secure the race lead on lap number 88, and he has held that advantage ever since. And now he's going to have a green-white checker to try to hold on to the win and get his 4th of the season. Championship point leader Ronnie Silk trying to grab another one. And Austin Beers, he's got 2 wins this year. He wants a 3rd one. Tommy Catalano will rejoin at the tail end of the field in the 11th spot as he gets his lap back. 2 laps to go here in Oswego, this one in overtime. Ronnie Silk in the 16 car to the bottom, Austin Beers in the outside lane. Bobby Santos and Anthony Cecily make up row number 2. Silk has been outstanding on restarts all evening long. Green flag is out, 2 to go in Oswego as he drives to the inside lane and bypasses Austin Beers. Beers has to fend off the 14 of Bobby Santos, and he does that. Down into turn 3 they go. Austin Beers right on the back bumper. White flag is out. Ronnie Silk leads into turn 1. Beers is there. They make contact in turn 2. Silk holding on to the top spot on the back straightaway. Into turn 3 they go. Beers again to the back bumper. Silk walks up the racetrack. Beers looking to the bottom, but for the 4th time this season, Ronnie Silk wins in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. He wins the Toyota Mod Classic 150 at Oswego Speedway. Phil Moran, Bob Tulipani, the entire crew down there at the Height Unone Racing Team getting their 4th win of the season. Last year, the questions abounded is when would Ronnie Silk win with this 16 car? Well, this year, he wins in style, 4th of the season. Now expanding his championship point lead on both Justin Bonsignore and Austin Beers here tonight. And he captures another one. Austin Beers will come up second for the 2nd week in a row with a runner-up spot for Beers. Bobby Santos, in the first time driving the Joe Stearns Billy Putney-tuned modified, comes home 3rd tonight. Anthony Cecily and Kyle Bonsignore, your top 5. So an eventful race tonight in Oswego. But it's going to be Ronnie Silk to capture a very impressive victory, his 2nd here at Oswego Speedway. And last time he did so in dominating fashion when he won here in 2021, leading 111 laps that day. He led quite a few laps today. Most of the laps were led by Justin Bonsignore. But he's not going to have anything to show for it because Ronnie Silk was there at the end, victorious here tonight. Solid run for him. Take a look at the rest of the top 10. 6th was Jimmy Zacharias. Great run for Jimmy Zacharias. He has spent a lot of time running on the dirt circuit, but Ronnie Silk climbing out of car number 16, victorious tonight at Oswego Speedway as he has captured the win here tonight. The entire crew is going to come in and offer congratulations for Ronnie. Joe Unone, car owner there, giving a big hug to his driver, Ronnie Silk, for the victory tonight. Big night for this team. 5 races left to go, and they have not let up at all when it comes to the championship battle. Ronnie Silk hammer down. Crew chief Phil Moran coming in to offer his congratulations to his driver as Phil Moran aiming for another Whelen Modified Tour Championship. They make a big step at that here tonight with the trouble for Justin Bonsignore.
So it's nice to capitalize that with a win, but still quite a bit to go. Anything could happen. We haven't had a bad race yet, so hopefully we don't, but there's always that chance, so we'll try and keep it going.
Walk us through what happened in that first pit stop that put you in that lead position there. What happened from your perspective?
Yeah, well, I really slipped up in qualifying, which got us back to 8th, and I was able to drive to 3rd on that first run. Guys had a great pit stop, came out 2nd, and I was just better than the 51 was at the beginning. He looked tight through the middle, and I could cross him over and get the lead. Really, the second half of the second half of the race, my car was just phenomenal.
What does this win mean, especially with the 51 having the night that he had? What does this win mean for the confidence of the team going forward? Yeah,
it's great. It's always good to win. We've had quite a battle so far, and like I said, it's not over yet. You don't want to see someone have something like that happen to them, get involved in a wreck or break something, but it's not over yet. We still got quite a few races to go.
All right. Thank you very much, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The thoughts of the race winner, Ronnie Silk, after that one. Knows that there's a lot of racing still left to go, but certainly put it all out on the line here tonight. Another very strong win for the 16 team, Ronnie Silk and that entire gang to be able to capture the victory here tonight. So, final running order, Ronnie Silk, the race winner. Austin Beers second, Bobby Santos third, Anthony Cecily fourth, Kyle Bonsignor was fifth. We started talking about Jimmy Zacharias. First time he had been in a modified since 2016, came home sixth. John McKennedy seventh, Tyler Ripkema rallied back to be eighth. Ninth for Tommy Catalano, able to salvage a top 10 finish after his race. His brother in his debut, Tyler Catalano, finished in 10th. Ken Hagee came home 11th, 12th for Gary McDonald. Andy Jankowiak was 13th, Tim Conley 14th. Justin Bonsignor is going to finish 15th on the night tonight. Craig Lutz, mechanical problems, 16th. Brian Narducci was 17th, and Melissa Fifield, involved in an early race caution, came home 18th here this evening. That is how they went in the Toyota Mod Classic 150 for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. The celebration continues for the 16 team of Ronnie Silk. Next Saturday night, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour is off to the Monadnock Speedway for the JDV Productions Whelen Granite Short Track Cup. That is where they will crown a mini 3-race series champion. So some extra bonus money on the line there for a driver that can capture that. We'll keep an eye on that event coming up in the schedule, the Winchester Fair, next Saturday at Monadnock Speedway. 2 weeks from tonight, September 16th, Riverhead Raceway for the Eddie Partridge 256. Live pit stops at the Short Bull Ring on the tip of Long Island. That's going to be a fun one. North Wilkesboro Speedway, September 30th. A highlight of the schedule is a NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. I'll have the opportunity to go to North Wilkesboro for the first time in the history of the series. Go back to Thompson Speedway for the second time this season. Part of the Sunoco World Series, the Speedway Racing race weekend, and wrap things up at Martinsville Speedway on October 26th, a Thursday night. And that is the penultimate race of the NASCAR National Series Championships weekend. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour will crown their champion on that Thursday night, October 26th, at the famed Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. And last year, like it appears to be this year, that championship battle will probably go right down to the wire, just like it did here 1 year ago. There is Tyler Haight, the other car owner of that 16 car, coming in to offer his driver congratulations. Ronnie Silk did what he needed to do. You heard in his interview, he said he messed up in qualifying. They started 8th. He got to the afterburners, rallied up through the field pretty quickly. Good pit work from his team, gained him another spot down on pit road. And then it was down to him and Justin Bonsignor to battle for the race lead. Took the lead away, never looked back for that 16 car of Ronnie Silk. Well, that'll pretty much do it here today from Oswego Speedway. Thanks for joining us here on Flow Sports. Next time out, Monadnock Speedway, the Whelen Granite State Short Track Cup from Monadnock Speedway 1 week from tonight. Have a great night, everybody.